Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you flips the entire idea of preparedness upside down. People think survival is about having the coolest gear, the biggest stockpile, or the most expensive tactical flashlight. But real survival, the kind that decides whether you make it through a blackout, a societal breakdown, or even a short-term emergency, comes down to tricks you're never officially taught. Not in school, not in the military unless you're in very specific units, and definitely not by any government agency that prefers you to stay calm, compliant, and comfortably unprepared. So let's pull the curtain back, because once you understand these survival tricks, you'll start seeing how fragile the world really is, and how insanely easy it is to stay alive when you understand the physics, psychology, and biology at play. Here's the first thing. In any collapse scenario, your biggest threat isn't the dark or hunger or even the cold. It's panic. Yours and everyone else's. When the grid goes down, when the phones die, when you suddenly lose the illusion of control, your brain flips into something called tunnel cognition. You think you're focused, but actually your awareness collapses inward, and you start missing the obvious. So the trick is deceptively simple. Pace your breathing with deliberate exhalation. Slow, steady, controlled breaths that stretch out longer on the exhale. This flips your vagus nerve switch and drags your nervous system out of panic mode. Suddenly, your brain comes back online. Your awareness widens. You start noticing danger before it touches you instead of reacting after it's too late. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Once your mind stops glitching, the second trick takes over, and it's one most people get backwards. Light is a liability. Everyone thinks a flashlight is a savior, but in a blackout or collapse scenario, any light source is essentially a beacon shouting, "I have resources, come find me." So you weaponize darkness instead of fighting it. Human eyes adjust faster than people realize. Avoid artificial light for 60 seconds and your night vision begins upgrading itself. 2 minutes. You see shapes. 10 minutes. You're moving like a nocturnal animal. A dark-adapted human becomes nearly impossible to sneak up on. If you must use light, keep it red-filtered or bounce it off the ground. Never directly outward. Darkness becomes your armor, not your enemy. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Now, let's talk about something nobody teaches in any official survival brochure: acoustic camouflage. In chaos, people gravitate toward noise. Humans fear silence, so when things get dangerous, they cluster around sound like panicked animals. The problem? Big groups attract danger. Looters, desperate crowds, panic chains. The solution is simple. Blend into the auditory environment. Eliminate anything in your zone that clatters, hums, rings, or clicks. Wrap metal tools. Move slowly. Boil water only when the environment is noisy. Wind, rain, distant chaos. In a collapse, quiet becomes invisibility, and invisibility is survival. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Now let's shift to water. Governments say, just boil it. And yes, boiling works if you have fuel, time, and the luxury of creating smoke and noise that will announce your presence to anyone nearby. But physics gives you a quieter trick: sedimentation plus sunlight. Let dirty water sit undisturbed for 30 to 60 minutes. Gravity pulls particulates downward. Then pour the top 2/3 into a clear bottle and leave it in direct sunlight for 4 to 6 hours. UV radiation destroys most pathogens at a level shockingly close to boiling, without a flame, without a sound, without revealing you. It's science, not magic. UV breaks microbial DNA and RNA. It's one of the most efficient emergency purification methods humanity has ever used. But here's something almost no one thinks about. In the first 24 hours of a crisis, traveling far is the dumbest instinct. Movies teach you to run. Real survivors do the opposite. They stay within a small micro radius, 200 to 500 meters, and gather intel. Who's panicking? Where's noise clustering? Which stores are mobbed? Which paths stay quiet? Which neighbors are liabilities? Who's armed? Once you understand the emerging pattern of chaos, that's when you move. Calm, strategic, invisible. People who flee early get caught in the chaos stream. People who observe first become the ones who slip through the cracks safely. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. And now we go deeper into the tricks that almost feel invisible because they happen inside you. The human brain is terrible at recognizing slow threats. Hypothermia, dehydration, exhaustion, they kill quietly while your attention is somewhere else. So you use micro-checking, a silent body scan every 20 minutes. Temperature, thirst, coordination, breathing, 3 seconds, that's it. But those 3 seconds catch disasters before they grow teeth. Your body always whispers before it screams. Survivors learn to listen early. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Then comes something the government would really prefer you never think about: resource masking. In a collapse, the person who looks prepared instantly becomes a target. So you disguise your competence. Beat up bag, junk on top, real supplies buried under it. Humans make snap judgments in under 0.2 of a second. If you look poor, you are uninteresting. If you look prepared, you are valuable, and that is a dangerous thing to be. Blending in is not cowardice, it's strategy. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources. Another trick nobody hands to civilians: thermal discipline. In prolonged blackouts, or situations where drones or looters with cheap thermal optics are scanning, your heat signature becomes a lighthouse. You manage heat the way you manage light. Break up your outline. Insulate behind you, not just on you. Avoid open windows and roof lines where warm air can give away your shape. Mask your signature behind engines, appliances, or reflective surfaces. Heat moves predictably. Learn that pattern and you stop being visible to the wrong eyes. But survival isn't only science and stealth. It's psychological warfare against chaos itself. One of the strangest but most powerful tools you have is controlled normalcy. Tiny rituals, small routines, tie your shoes the same way, breathe the same way before sleeping, count your items every morning. These little anchors stabilize your brain chemistry when the world is collapsing outside. Your mind needs consistency to stay sharp. In chaos, discipline becomes a weapon, and that leads to a skill borrowed from firefighters and elite units: spatial anchoring. You build mental maps even when you're stressed. Count your steps, note textures, tap corners, memorize surfaces. If you lose light, smoke rolls in, or your vision is compromised, you move confidently while others stumble. Blindness isn't dangerous when your brain already learned the terrain. Finally, there's one emotional trick nobody expects. Assume kindness is rare, not extinct. If you think everyone is an enemy, you become reckless. If you think everyone is a friend, you become prey. Treat every interaction like a negotiation. Calm, slow, measured, neutral. Humans mirror energy. Project steady confidence and you disarm conflict before it ignites. Survival isn't about overpowering people. It's about never giving them a reason to choose you as a target. Because when the world collapses, survival becomes a psychological chess match played against chaos itself. Governments hand you basic instructions because those keep crowds manageable. But real survival lives in the hidden techniques, the subtle tricks of biology, physics, psychology, and misdirection. Once you understand these, you stop being a spectator and collapse, and start becoming the ghost who moves through it untouched.